Imagine going bankrupt on a Monday, and a decade later, people are arguing over which of your SUVs is the best buy on the lot. That's not just a comeback, that's a plot twist. And tucked inside it is one quiet decision that flipped an entire reputation. Before the sleek badges and the dramatic light bars, this story starts small. A workshop bending steel tubing and making bicycle parts for a country rebuilding from the ground up. Mobility didn't arrive as a miracle. It arrived as a set of humble steps. 2 wheels, then 3, then 4. Motorcycles and small trucks kept the lights on. Partnerships opened doors to building passenger cars. The lesson from those early years was simple. Learn by doing, improve by iteration, and keep moving even when the road isn't paved yet. Growth rarely runs in a straight line. There are years you sprint and years you crawl, and then there are the years that test everything. For this company, that year was 1997. Currency shock, credit lines disappearing, factory floors going still. Overnight, spreadsheets turned into survival plans, and the math no longer worked. Bankruptcy wasn't a headline, it was a daily reality. If you've ever trusted a brand with something important, a flight, a phone, a car, you know this part. Trust vanishes faster than it's built. And in the car world, trust isn't an abstract idea. It's the reason a parent chooses one set of keys over another. When a car maker collapses, it doesn't just lose inventory, it loses the benefit of the doubt. That's the real cost. So how do you rebuild from that? First, you breathe. Then you find a lifeline. New alignment, fresh capital, the quiet discipline of getting boring things right. Payables, sourcing, scheduling, quality gates that don't blink. Survival comes before growth, but survival alone doesn't sell cars. To move from "we're still here" to "you can count on us," you need a reason for people to take a chance on you again. Here's where the plot turns. Most brands try to talk their way out of a reputation problem. Commercials, slogans, glossy campaigns. This company did something bolder. It made a promise, not a poetic one, a practical one. A warranty that said, in effect, if anything goes wrong, we're standing next to you. That's more than paperwork, it's skin in the game. You can't fake confidence for long when the fine print is on the hook. That single move changed conversations at kitchen tables and dealership desks. People thought, if they're willing to bet on themselves, maybe I can too. But a promise is only as strong as the system behind it. Inside the factories, the checklist got tighter. The parts that mattered most got better. The little rattles that used to be normal weren't normal anymore. Every owner who didn't have to go back to the service bay became a micro commercial that money couldn't buy. Slowly, the noise around the brand started to quiet, and something else began to speak louder: the cars themselves. Value, redefined, became the next move. Not the race to the bottom kind of value where everything feels flimsy. The kind where you sit in the driver's seat and think, wait, this is nicer than I expected. Useful features, safer choices, tech that didn't feel like an afterthought. When value stops meaning cheap and starts meaning smart, people lean in. Still, there was one more ceiling to break. To escape the budget box, the metal had to make people feel something. Design isn't lipstick. It's the product telling you a story before you ever turn the key. Lines tightened. Proportions grew confident. Headlights got a signature, like a handwritten name you can spot from across the street. The first time someone said, "That's a Kia?" with eyebrows up instead of down, you could feel the box cracking open. In a minute, we'll talk about the bet that aims beyond cars entirely. But first, think about what just happened. Stability gave the team breathing room. A promise rebuilt trust. Quality work made the promise true. And design turned quiet competence into desire. That staircase matters because a brand isn't redeemed by a single viral moment. It's rebuilt in layers. Now, the horizon. The next move wasn't a bigger engine or one more chrome accent. It was direction. The company drew a new map and called it SHOT, an electric, software-forward future. Dedicated platforms, better batteries. Cars that get smarter after you buy them. And beyond the driveway, a new category with a new acronym, PBVS, Purpose-Built Vehicles. Think flexible boxes on wheels designed for delivery routes, rideshare duty, or specialized work where usefulness beats glamour every single day. If the last decade was about trust and taste, the next decade is about scale. Solutions that roll out by the fleet, not just one household at a time. Signals began to add up. Owners who came for the warranty stayed for the comfort. Reviewers stopped saying, surprisingly decent, and started saying, genuinely impressive. Model lineups matured. A couple of years earlier, recommending one of these cars came with a shrug. Now it came with a grin. And when an electric badge carried the same design language as the rest of the family, clean, confident, intentional, it didn't feel like a side project. It felt like the brand had decided who it wanted to be. If you love a good turnaround story, zoom out for a second. The pattern here is repeatable. Promise something meaningful and risky enough to be believed. Do the unglamorous work that makes that promise true. Then shape the product so the promise is visible from 20 feet away. That's the triangle. Promise, proof, perception. Most companies try to jump straight to perception. The great ones let proof do the heavy lifting. Of course, the road ahead is still a road. Software needs to get smoother. Charging has to feel effortless. Those purpose-built vehicles will only win if they quietly solve problems for businesses that count seconds and pennies. But if this brand keeps marching toward one clear future instead of trying to be everything to everyone, you'll start seeing its logo in places you don't expect. On delivery vans at dawn, in rides that whisk you across town, in vehicles built less for bragging rights and more for getting things done. And about that quiet decision we teased at the start, the one that flipped the reputation. It wasn't a commercial, it wasn't a rebrand. It was a promise made in legal ink and honored on real roads. The warranty wasn't clever copy, it was a public wager on reliability. That simple, concrete promise turned skeptics into test drives into owners, and owners into fans. From a workshop bending steel tubes to an electric future mapped in milestones, this is what a staircase of trust looks like. Stability, promise, proof, design, and direction. A brand that once asked for a second chance earned a second look, and then a place on the short list. That's not luck. That's the compound effect of better choices. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Which brand's glow-up shocked you the most, and who should we break down next? If stories like this help you spot the patterns behind great comebacks, hit subscribe and stick around. The next episode dives into a company that went from punchline to powerhouse, and there's a lesson in that one you can use. Thank you for joining, like, and subscribe.